In a database management system, keys play an important role in organizing and managing data. A key is an attribute or a group of attributes used to uniquely identify records in a table. Keys help maintain data accuracy, avoid duplication, and establish relationships between different tables. There are several types of keys such as primary key, foreign key, candidate key, super key, and composite key. Each key has a specific purpose, like ensuring uniqueness or connecting tables. For example, a primary key uniquely identifies each record, while a foreign key links related tables. Overall, keys are essential for maintaining data integrity and improving database efficiency in systems like MySQL and Oracle database. Keys play a very important role in a relational database. A key is an attribute or a group of attributes that is used to uniquely identify each record or row in a table. This helps to avoid duplicate data and ensures that every record can be accessed easily and accurately. In addition, keys are also used to maintain data integrity and consistency in the database. For example, a primary key uniquely identifies each record in a table and does not allow null or duplicate values. Similarly, a foreign key is used to create relationships between two tables. It connects one table with another and helps in maintaining referential integrity. There are different types of keys such as candidate key, super key, composite key, and unique key. Each type has a specific purpose in database design and management. For instance, composite keys use more than one column to identify a record, while unique keys ensure that values in a column remain unique. A primary key is a column or a set of columns in a table that uniquely identifies each row or record. It means no two rows can have the same primary key value. The main purpose of a primary key is to avoid duplicate records and to ensure data accuracy in a database. A primary key has some important properties. First, it must contain unique values for every record. Second, it cannot contain null values because every row must be identified. Third, there can be only one primary key in a table, but it can consist of multiple columns, which is called a composite primary key. For example, in an employee table, the employee_ID is usually used as the primary key because each employee has a unique ID. Other attributes like name or address may be repeated, but the employee_ID is always different. Primary keys are also very important for creating relationships between tables. They are used along with foreign keys to maintain data integrity and consistency. In modern database systems like MySQL, a foreign key is a column or a set of columns in one table that refers to the primary key of another table. It is mainly used to create a relationship between two tables and maintain referential integrity. In simple words, a foreign key connects one table to another. It ensures that the value in one table must match an existing value in the primary key column of the related table. This prevents invalid or unrelated data from being entered. For example, in the image, we have two tables: employee and department. The department table has department_ID as its primary key. In the employee table, department_ID is used as a foreign key. This means every employee must belong to a valid department that already exists in the department table. Unlike a primary key, a foreign key can have duplicate values because multiple employees can belong to the same department. However, the value must exist in the referenced table. Foreign keys are very important in relational database systems like MySQL. A candidate key is an attribute or a set of attributes in a table that can uniquely identify each record or tuple. In other words, a candidate key has the ability to become a primary key because it also contains unique and non-null values. In a table, there can be more than one candidate key. From these candidate keys, only one is selected as the primary key, and the remaining are called alternate keys. This means all candidate keys are strong and unique like the primary key, but only one is chosen as the main identifier. For example, in an employee table, attributes like employee_ID, passport_number, and SSN can all uniquely identify an employee. So, all these are candidate keys. But if we select employee_ID as the primary key, then passport_number and SSN become alternate keys. Candidate keys play an important role in database design because they help in selecting the best and most suitable primary key. In this example of the employee table, we have several attributes such as employee_ID, SSN, passport_number, and license_number. All these attributes can uniquely identify an employee. That means each of them can act as a candidate key. However, among all these candidate keys, we choose the most suitable and simple one as the primary key. In this case, employee_ID is selected as the primary key because it is simple, system-generated, and easy to manage. The remaining attributes like SSN, passport_number, and license_number are still unique and strong identifiers, so they are considered candidate keys. Once the primary key is selected, the remaining candidate keys are called alternate keys. This example shows that a table can have multiple candidate keys, but only one primary key. Choosing the correct primary key improves database performance and maintains data integrity in relational database systems. A superkey is any set of one or more attributes that can uniquely identify a row in a table. For example, consider an employee table with attributes: employee_ID, employee_name, passport_number, SSN. If employee_ID is unique for every employee, then employee_ID is a superkey because no two employees can have the same ID. Now, if we combine it with another attribute like employee_ID, employee_name, this combination will also uniquely identify a row. Why? Because employee_ID is already unique. Even though employee_name may repeat, the presence of employee_ID guarantees uniqueness. So this combination is also a superkey. However, it has an extra attribute that is not needed. This brings us to an important concept. A candidate key is a minimal superkey, meaning it has no unnecessary attributes. So, employee_ID, candidate key, minimal and unique. Employee_ID, employee_name, superkey, but not minimal. An alternate key is a candidate key that is not chosen as the primary key. First, understand what a candidate key is. A candidate key is any attribute or combination of attributes that can uniquely identify each tuple, row, in a relation, table. Sometimes, a table may have more than one candidate key. Out of all those candidate keys, one is selected as the primary key. The remaining candidate keys are called alternate keys. So, alternate keys are also unique identifiers, but they are not selected as the main key of the table. An alternate key is a candidate key that is not chosen as the primary key. First, understand that a candidate key is any attribute or combination of attributes that can uniquely identify each tuple, row, in a relation. Sometimes, a table may have more than one candidate key. For example, consider an employee table with two attributes: employee_ID, pan_no. If both employee_ID and pan_no are unique, then both are candidate keys because each can uniquely identify an employee. Now, from these candidate keys, we select one as the primary key. Suppose we choose employee_ID as the primary key. Then the other candidate key, pan_no, becomes the alternate key. So, an alternate key is simply the candidate key that was not selected as the primary key. Keys are very important in a database because they help to uniquely identify each record in a table. Without keys, it would be difficult to distinguish one row from another, especially when data values are similar. Keys also help maintain data accuracy and integrity by preventing duplicate records and ensuring that relationships between tables are correct. In simple words, keys keep the database organized, consistent, and reliable.